All right, so now that we know how to use the page designer pretty fully, you probably want to start designing your own blocks and start adding your own information or implementing your own designs. And that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you how to start adding a little bit extra to your pages, because we've got this template, but you might want to have a longer scrolling page. So we're going to add some more information. So I'm going to go ahead and add a block. And let's say I want to go ahead and add some testimonials, for example. I can come here to my testimonials page and start adding testimonials that way, or I can go ahead and design it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and just add an empty block. And then in this block, I'm going to come up to my row, and I'm just going to change the layout by clicking on those three dots. And I'm going to add three little things. Okay, so now within this column, I'm going to go ahead and add a container. I'm going to keep everything contained in my container so I can just duplicate it as I go. So now I want to go ahead and add an image, and I'm going to make this image an image of a person. So I'm just going to find my people, and let's just select someone. I'm just going to look for a happy photo. All right, she's very happy. Let's choose her. And now I'm going to go ahead and create a custom size. I'm going to make this 200 by 200, and that's actually a little bit too big still. So let's go way smaller. Okay, 50. There we go. 50, and I'm going to make sure that this is round. So 50 is a little bit small. Let's make it 80. All right, we're just going to play with the size a little bit. Okay, so now we've got this image. Great, I'm happy with that. I can go ahead and customize these settings even more. I can go ahead and add some alt text to describe this image. I can add a redirect to it if I want to as well. I can add borders and shadows. I'm going to leave all of that alone. We do have a pretty good handle on the settings, but now I just want to add some more information. So in this container, I'm going to go ahead and add a heading, and I'm also going to add some text. All right, and this we're going to go ahead and call her Jessica B, and her testimonial is going to say, "This absolutely changed my life. I can't spell. Couldn't recommend it more." All right. So now I've created this, I want to go ahead and, fluff it up a little bit. So in my container here, I'm just going to make sure that everything is center lined. Do the same with this heading and with that text. I know it's not the most ideal design, but it's a design. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate that, move that here, and again, duplicate that, move that here. And we can update these images. So let's find other people. All right, that's gonna be Melby. And last one, he's happy. And we'll call him Mike C. Okay, and I'm not gonna update that too much. All right, then I do also want to go ahead and add a heading to this page in general, to this block. And this heading, I'm going to center line it. I'm going to say what people are saying. And I want to make sure that this is a heading 1 heading. So it's nice and big and it's great. And I can also go ahead and say that I want to duplicate this entire row actually, so that I have multiple testimonials going on here. Something else I might want to do to sort of break the page up is give this block a background. So I'm going to add a background. I'm going to do a linear background, and I'm going to change this color to be a deeper purple. And then I'll need to update the color of the text, which is not the best anyways. But I can also come to my rows and give those a bit of a background as well to make it look a little bit different. So I'll do the same for both of those, just so I don't have to go in and edit all of the text. So this is how we can start adding some content to the page. My design looks so bad in comparison to what's on the page, but at least we know how to add that content. So let's add another just empty block and go through some of the other content modules that you can add. So we're pretty familiar with headings, texts, images, but something else we can add is buttons. So you might want to add a buy now button. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to edit my button and I'm going to say buy now. And you'll see that that's changed the text. I can change the icon style. So currently there's no icon, but I can add an icon to the left, or I can add an icon to the right. And let's say I want to change this to be like an arrow, for example. I'm then going to look for the arrow I want, and there we go. I can then choose my redirect settings, which in this case, I do kind of want it to take me to the confirmation page. I don't want it to take me somewhere else, given the page that we're creating. We're creating our register page. Okay, so we don't need to mess with these, but you can if you really want to. If you want to, like, for whatever reason, send them away from your webinar to an About Us page, for example, you can do that too. But, you know, probably best to keep people in the funnel. All right. Then again, we can change our text style. So I can, instead of having it be a text, I can make it the secondary text. We'll leave that the same. You can come in here and change all those styles if you want to. But again, generally best to change your styles up here in the style settings. And then you can change the style of your button. So I want it to be a large button and I want it to have a margin of 20 pixels, which I don't actually want. I can make the corners square or round, or I can make it a mix of both. But let's make it a round button. And then I can also edit the background. It's currently inheriting my primary color, but if I don't want it to be my primary color, I can make it something else. I can make even a unique button color, but let's say I just want it to be the same color as my text color, and then I can move that somewhere else. The style settings are also all the same for the button as well. Now I want to come here to my button, and what's quite nice is it's got that hover color in the background settings, which I didn't touch on. So primary color and hover color, and that's actually a nice little setting that I wasn't paying much attention to. But now let's say I want to have a few buttons next to each other. I can go ahead and do that. And the way I'm going to do it is by adding a container. So I'm just going to add a container over here, actually. And in this container, I'm going to add a row and I'm going to have 2 columns. I'm then going to move that button over there. I'm then going to duplicate that button and I'm going to move it here. And this button is going to say, take me there. And now I can go ahead and just click on my container here and make sure that all the spacing settings are all good. And I can go ahead and move that over here, for example, which I don't want. I can move it over there. And I can customize the way that shows up as well. So there's our buttons. All right. You can also go ahead and add videos. This is probably an element that you're going to want to use a lot. You can click in here. You can go ahead and update the URLs. So if I grab a URL quickly and I update it, it's then going to play that video for me. I can change it to autoplay. I can allow there to be controls or not. I can allow it to loop or not. If I don't have the autoplay, then I can have it automatically muted and prompt people to unmute it. But let's say, yeah, I want it to autoplay. So people come to my registration page, they're met with me telling them all about this amazing webinar. I can change the aspect ratio as well, but we're going to keep it to the correct aspect ratio. The size settings are all the same as well. And so I can, again, move that to wherever I want it to be on my page. All right, some other content modules that you might be interested in is having that opt-in form, because we can customize that opt-in form. Yes, we already have it here within the page. So if I come to this button, and this button is an opt-in form, I can come here to the settings and customize this a little bit as well. So I can add a new field. So it's not just capturing the email, but it's also capturing their first name. And I can add extra things so that it captures their phone number as well, if need be. And if I want to go ahead and view the pop-up, so currently it's displaying it in a pop-up, I can have it display on the page. The pop-up is a little bit neater. I can then just quickly hit preview, open that, exit out of preview, and I can see what is going on here. I can actually get a good visual of that opt-in form in the pop-up. I can also add verifications, like if I want to verify the phone and email, so make sure that people are not just giving me gammy information. I can then also choose what happens after submission, so the redirect or a message. You want them to redirect to the next step in your funnel though, to the confirmation page. All right, and you want to choose which webinar it's showing up in, which is my webinar. All right, you can also change the style of the label, the field, the button, the pop-up. So this is something that you can go ahead and play around with. You can also create consent rules. So yes, I agree to the terms and conditions, and you can make sure that all of that is included as well. All right, but we can go ahead and exit out of that. And let's see if there's anything else we might want to add. Perhaps a timer, so that your leads coming to this webinar can see exactly how long they have until the webinar starts. And you can customize this timer by, again, coming to those settings, and you can choose if it is evergreen or fixed. It will naturally inherit from the funnel itself as well, from the webinar itself. And you can choose if you want to show days, hours, minutes, seconds. So depending on how your webinar has been set up, you might want to limit or show what's going on there. All right, and then you can also change the numbers and how they appear in terms of the text. You can do the same for the captions, and you can change the padding and size. So this is how you can start. I'm not a very good designer, but this is how you can start adding those elements and start designing different parts of your page using the content modules. So you can start building this out to include all of the information that you want and need on your registration page, your confirmation page, all of those things. So you might want to have an about me, about the presenter, and have a block dedicated to that with all of your information. So I just touched on a few of the content modules that we have available, but the best way to learn how to use them is to simply go through them and use them, play around with the settings, and see what you need there. All right, so now that we know how to use the content modules on our pages, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to create templates that you can use over and over again, and how to use components. I'll see you there.